Hey, what's up, guys? Tonight's topic is why we enjoy fear, the science of the good scare. Well, the thrill of a frightening fear can feel euphoric, and mild horror, say researchers, can also help foster lasting physiological resilience. Palm sweet heartbeat quickens, muscle tense, your skin prickles and stomach churns. When fear subsides, we can be left with feelings of pleasure. Is it just relief of having survived, or is it something more? Well, fight or flight. The amygdala, an almond-shaped bundle of neurons deep in the center of the brain, controls a fear response. In a fearful situation, the amygdala stimulates the hypothalamus, which activates two systems in the body: the sympathetic nervous system and the adrenal cortical system, causing a flash flood of hormones and triggering the fight or flight response. Adrenaline boosts the body alertness, it speeds up the heart rate and diverts blood from the cord to the muscles needed for movement. Cortisol rise, blood pressure, blood blood vessels around the vital organs dilate, filling them with oxygen and nutrients. Breathing quickens, delivering fresh oxygen to the brain, while levels of glucose in the blood spike, giving the body a quick energy boost, ready for action. Although we have an understanding of some aspects of neural fear networks and how they coordinate behavior, there are still many unknowns, says Dr. Charlotte Lawrenson, a neuroscientist at Bristol University. In early societies, fear-inducing tales were used to teach children about dangers they might encounter. When we are exposed to sensory stimuli in our environment that is potentially threatening, she said, two pathways are activated in the brain that varies fast. Information is transferred to sensory thalamus and then to the amygdala. Allow for immediate actions on the threatening stimuli. The second is slower, indirect route. Information is sent from the thalamus to the cortex, the outermost layer of the brain associated with consciousness, reasoning, and memory. This analyzes the three and allows us to determine whether we are in a real danger. We don't know exactly where the feeling of fear occurs in the brain, says Lawrenson, but it's likely to be from the coordinated activation of a fear network involving multiple brain regions. If the threat is determined to be real, other areas of the brain will be activated to initiate a whole body response to danger. This includes the periaqueductal gray, which coordinates the antinociceptive, autonomic, and behavioral reactions to stress and injury, blocking the detections of pain by sensory neurons and kickstarting the involuntary physiological process and responding action. The memory of the danger will be transferred and stored in the hippocampus, adds Lawrenson co-researcher Dr. Elena Ptasi, so that we are able to remember and identify the tree and the next encounter. A window on our collective fears. Fears in science, emotion, and scary stories ingrained in human history. In early societies, fear-inducing tales were used to teach children about dangers they might encounter, such as wolves and other predators. Today, cinema offers a window into society's collective fears in the 1954, a sci-fi film Godzilla was created by nuclear radiation, leaving the shared anxiety about the Second World War atomic attacks. Horror films have often featured technology, robots that rebel against their creators like the Westworld host or murderers such as HAL in 201, Space Odyssey, and Skynet in the Terminator. In the late 1970s and the 1980s, Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger made their appearance alongside the emergence of the serial killer in the public consciousness. In March 2020, when the pandemic went into hyperdrive, the owners of the movie contentions about a deadly pandemic surged. Why did people want to watch a horror film about something so real to them at that point in the time? Prof. Mark Maldorf Anderson and his colleagues think that horror films have learning potential for uncertainty management. Navigating an unpredictable world and associated professor in Denmark, Aarhus University, Maldorf Andersen researched the cognitive process involved in play and learning. Spending time in these fictional realms can almost be thought of as an opportunity to wrap up your own extrusion before worst-case scenarios, he says. A study on horror fans during the COVID pandemic found that people who enjoyed watching scary films were more psychologically resilient than non-horror fans. They have, in some ways, been exposed to similar scenarios that might use the experience of navigating new, uncertain realities. Says Maldorf Andersen, it is possible that recreational forms of fear in general can help improve emotion regulation and coping skills. Enjoyment of fear, says Maldorf Andersen, makes sense if you look at it as a form of play. Enjoyment of scary stimuli seems to be related to getting a grip on unpredictable situations, he says. In much the same way, children's play is characterized by seeking out moderate amounts of uncertainty. Moderate surprise in an effort to make sense of them. In fact, research at Exeter University says that when children play involves risk and fear, it can function as a protective factor against anxiety. Play, says Maldorf Andersen, is a strategy for learning how to deal with unfamiliar situations and making the unpredictable predictable. The sweet spot. To investigate the relationship between enjoyment and fear, Maldorf Andersen and his colleagues at Aarhus University's Recreational Fear Lab studied a group of people who went to a haunted house visitor attraction. There, the guests voluntarily signed up to be terrified by brain-mashing zombies, chainsaw wielding maniacs, and child-eating murderers. The researchers found the guests monitored their heart rates and asked them how they felt at various points during the experience. At Dystopia Haunted House, there are about 70 or 100 scares actors each night, says Maldorf Andersen, and a large special effects department. They challenge their guests on a lot of different levels: disgust, fear, jump scare, unease, being alone, being in the dark, claustrophobia. The findings indicated that humans don't enjoy being too far from their normal physiological state, but they do enjoy being just a little bit of their comfort zone. Our results suggest that there might be a sweet spot between fear and enjoyment, says Maldorf Andersen. A just right spot where the context is not too terrifying but not too tame either. The sweet spot seems to be where enjoyment is maximized. At the spot, a flood of fear quickly followed, by relief resulting this release of feel-good chemicals in the brain, endorphins and dopamine, rewarding you with a rush of euphoria when fear goes too far. However, it is important to keep in mind that everyone is different. We all have a unique sense of what we find scary, and it's a fine line between harmless fun and genuine terror. Too much fear can lead to distress and dysfunctions. Globally, about 275 million people suffer from anxiety disorders, which can become chronic and debilitating and affect a person's life trajectory. Different people have a different level of activation of certain areas of the brain, says Spacey. What can be a thrill for one person can be truly terrifying for another. So, dare to be scared is how it, but just the right amount. Well, it's all, and I see you the next episode, guys. Goodbye.